So, the topic is on the slide. I will talk about searching for language identity, and my talk will consist of two parts. In the first part, I will be talking about 32 years of searching answers, simple answers for two questions. Who am I? What's my nationality? And what's my native language? I'm 33 years now old, so this year I managed to find out those answers. And I have a metaphor with those codes. By the end of the talk, I will put almost every single of them and talk a different story of a code and of a language that I speak, and will explain how they are connected to each other. So, as you already know, my name is, it can be Veronika, also Veronika, Veronica, Veronique, Veronika, or Veronica, or Veronika as well. So I think my parents, they didn't think about it, but I feel like my name is like this kind of animal, a chameleon. It can change in every language, almost in every language. I have the version of my name, so I can feel like at home, almost in every language, by changing the pronunciation of my name. So, as for the answers for the question, who am I today? Now I can give you the answer. I consider myself a language teacher, and I always say it on the first place, even when I'm not in academic environment, because I really feel attached to what I do in my life. I'm a linguist, a polyglot, a woman. As for nationality, as for today, this year, my answer is that I'm Polish with migration experience, or as some of my friends, they say, you're Polish with interesting background. I think this is kind of a fancy answer. I like it as well, so I use it. I also consider myself European, Warsavian. I put this Polish word, Żoliborjanka, so because I'm not sure if there is a good, beautiful translation into English. So this is how you call the woman that is a resident of Żoliborz district in Warsaw, because I'm not only attached to my city, but the particular district where I'm living, and I'm history lover and sportswoman. So one may ask, so what's the problem with answering the questions about your native language? Just pick a country where you were born, or what language your parents or grandparents spoke, and like that's your native language. But I will show you the map, the country where I was born. It's this blue one, and I guess everyone knows that this country doesn't exist anymore, so should I consider myself like Soviet person? Or, as you already also know, like the only one single official language there was Russian. So should I then consider Russian as my only native language because I was born in this country? So yeah, I think we all know the answer. When I was almost 2 years old, the map was already a bit different, like slightly different. And the place where I was living with my family is this pink one, Uzbekistan. So I was living in a capital called Tashkent city. So one may say, so then you should call yourself Uzbek. If you are coming from Uzbekistan, you are living there. The only official language there is Uzbek language, so what's the problem? So let me show you another map, which is it shows the map of Europe before the First World War. And the part of my family, the grandparents of my mother are coming from this blue part, which is Austria-Hungarian Empire back then. So one may ask, so you can consider yourself Austrian or maybe Hungarian, right? Because my grandparents were from there. So, and this map shows the exact region, and my grandfather and grandmother are coming from this yellow and violet part. The violet shows where Poles lived, and the yellow, the Ukrainians. So I have both of them. So one might say, so you can consider yourself Ukrainian, why not? And maybe Ukrainian should be my native language, even though I don't speak it yet. So, and I can show you another one map, which shows the map of Central Asia, actually what was there before Uzbekistan was created by Soviet Union, and the place where another part of my family is coming from, it was called the Turkestan General Government, which was part of Russian Empire. So again, so should I maybe call myself Turkestanic or like, I don't know, Turkic woman or something like this? So see, there are a lot of opportunities, a big choice, what to choose. And the problem is, I never feel any of it. I could not attach to any of those answers, possible answers that those maps give me. And when I was little kid, I think 4 or 5 years old, the linguistic situation that I had, I think this term describes as the best, is receptive bilingualism. So this is a situation when you have 2 languages, but you actually speak one and only understand passively the second one. So that was my case. I was having my education, the school, books. I learned how to read and write in Russian, because back then, in early 90s, everything was only in this language. All the books and other materials for kids were exclusively in Russian. But of course, I was surrounded by Uzbek language, like talking on bazaar or with taxi drivers. But I never really learned how to express myself or to write an, I don't know, essay in Uzbek. So I never learned it in a proper way. So, and when I was starting my school and began to have interaction with other kids of different nationalities, I was usually called by this word. This is a word, ores. It's a word in Uzbek. It's in Cyrillic because back then, before 1998, Uzbek was written with Cyrillic. Now it has Latin script. If you write it on Google Translator, probably you will just see Russian. But it's important to know that this word has a strong negative connotation, and it was used, and I believe is still used, by ethnic Uzbeks to name basically not only Russians, but all other nationalities who remain living there in Uzbekistan, in independent Uzbekistan, and who are not ethnically Uzbeks. So this word is kind of strong. Imagine you are like a small kid and people say, you are this, so showing you are not one of us, you are not from here, like you are this ores. And as a child, I was like, why people are calling me this? Like, I'm from here, I was born here, I have Uzbeks, like, big part of my family are ethnic Uzbeks, so should I, like, write it on my forehead and, like, shout it for everyone? And actually what I did, like, when people told me this, I was trying to say no, like, I'm from here, I'm Uzbek. But usually what happened is that people didn't believe me for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is my appearance. I will show you how average Uzbek women look like. So I think you can see that my appearance is slightly different. So when people hear me saying, I'm Uzbek, and they see my face, they're like, oh, really? I don't think so. And also I will show you the typical, most popular Uzbek names. So have a second to read them. If any of you speaks Persian or Arabic, you will definitely see that they are mostly of either Persian or Arabic origin. So Veronica has nothing to do with this. So when people see like my appearance, my name, and see like, and hear you are Uzbek, like they cannot believe. It doesn't combine. So they feel like I'm lying or there is some secret over what I'm saying. And there was an interesting chapter in my childhood when I was literally every day I was called Veronica Castro. So if any of you is coming from post-Soviet republics, I think you know that at that time when television was the only option, there was no YouTube, no Netflix, and I think every one of us watched Brazilian soap operas like every day at 5 or 6 p.m. And Veronica Castro was one of the most popular actresses, like playing main role. And my life was more or less the same. Everywhere I went, I was saying like, my name is Veronica, and people say, oh, Veronica Castro, nice to meet you. I'm like, I'm not Veronica Castro, I'm Veronica. No, you are Veronica Castro for sure, your parents named you after this actress. I was like, really? First of all, I was born before the soap opera, and secondly, I really think it's not a smart way to choose the name for your child, like just naming it by the actress. But really, like in 1994, 95, I think every day everyone like called me this instead of my proper name, which was quite annoying. And actually, as a child, I think all of you know this Maslow hierarchy of needs. The only thing I wanted back then is to feel, to have a feeling of belongingness, just to be the part of the group, not to stay apart, not to be different, not to be Veronica Castro or someone else, but just to be the same as the majority of people around me. So that made me find some answer to this question, who am I? The answer that can satisfy me as well as satisfy other people, so they don't feel that I'm lying or I'm hiding something. And at that time, I came across this word. I will open you the definition from Webster Dictionary. Of course, I'm not an offspring of indigenous American and a person of European ancestry. Actually, I don't remember how it happened. Me as a 7 or 8 old kid, I found this word maybe on television as well, completely not understanding what does it mean. But I thought, like, this is a fancy word, I will use it. So now every time anyone will ask me, like, are you Uzbek? Like, are you really Uzbek? I'll say, I'm this. And my life will calm down. But every time I told to someone who asked me, who are you? And I told them, I'm Metis. And people were like, what's that? Like, tell me the real answer. So people were not satisfied with this answer as well. So when I was already in secondary school, I came across this term. I don't know if anyone knows what's that, so let me then explain. Mankurt is the main hero of the book written by Chingiz Aytmatov, I'm sorry. He is a Kyrgyz writer, but this one book is translated into English, so highly recommended to read. So Mankurt is the main character of this book, and let me read you like the short description. The main character, Mankurt, was a prisoner of war, and they were turned into slaves. And this was done by the certain procedure. The slaves were exposing camel skin wrapped around their heads to the heat of sun. And as a result, those skins dried tight, causing brain damage. And as a result of this brain damage, the figurative zombification was caused. So this kind of person, as a result of this brain damage, they didn't recognize themselves, they didn't recognize their names, they didn't remember anything about their history, about their origins, nothing about their family. So actually, Mankurts are people without past. So when I was a teenager and I read this book, I thought, like, this feeling really like struck me, like maybe I can identify myself with this. For sure, I didn't have this brain damage and nothing of that, but I thought maybe it's really like can be this kind of metaphor that Soviet people, they were denied to feel who they are. Like my grandparents, Ukrainians, Polish people, they were forced to forget about who they are, where they're coming from. They didn't have a chance to pass their traditions, to teach their language, and they all were just like Soviet people, which means like no one, a person without any past. So I picked up this word. It was really like fancy for me as well. But imagine again, like someone asked me, where are you from? And I'm saying, I'm Mankurt, and people are like, ah? What the fuck? Give us another answer. We are not satisfied. So, and after that, let me see what I have. Yeah, and when I was in school and I started to learn foreign languages, it was clear for me that in my case, and in case of people of mixed nationality, there is a clear difference between ethnicity and nationality. As for nationality, I could say like I have Polish passport or I have Uzbek passport. There are no doubts about it. It's just about document. But as for ethnicity, that's what I needed to search for, the answer for what my ethnicity is, to which ethnicity should I attach myself. So, and you see in Polish you also have both words, like narodowość and obywatelstwo, or in Russian nationalist and gражданство, which might be the same thing for someone who is, let's say, German, born in Germany, both parents are German, so this is all the same. But for people of mixed nationality, you can be of one nationality attached to one country, but have a completely different ethnicity, or more than 2 or 5 different ethnicities. So also what happened in independent Uzbek state, the 2 different words in Russian were created. The first is Uzbek, which is the word for Uzbeks who are like ethnically Uzbeks, but another word for people who are Uzbek citizens living there, born there, but are not ethnically Uzbeks. It was Uzbekistanets, so Uzbek with this fancy suffix. From one side it's good, right? You have a proper name for everyone. From another side, there is still like separation, like why one could not tell like that everyone who lives in Uzbekistan is Uzbek. No, like let's divide it into Uzbek and Uzbekistani, so just showing like one of us and one of us who is not one of us, like, and make this categorization. So I was using the second word for some time to name who I am, and yeah, and I figure out that what we all do is pigeonholing. What people do, and me too, I always tend to label people. Yeah, it sounds not so good, but all people need clear, short answers to the questions they ask, and I cannot change it. Like I cannot do anything about it. So when people ask me, where are you from? I should give one word telling the whole story. Usually people don't want to hear like, I'm from this country, but my parents from another country, but I speak that language, but we moved, and then I got another passport. Like, people want to have one word that will allow them to put you in a certain category, on a certain shelf. And that makes the task to answer those questions even more difficult. So then the next chapter comes when I graduated from Arabic philology, which was kind of by chance, and I was working in Arabic embassy in Tashkent. So, and I was thinking, because I spoke Arabic really good, like almost on a native level, and I spent like my whole time and also free time with Egyptians. So I thought maybe I should consider myself Egyptian. Why not? If I spend all the time with them, I speak the language. Really, Arabic became like #1 language of my life. So why not to call myself Egyptian? And I was sometimes faking people. For example, the taxi drivers, when I picked a taxi from my home going to embassy or some other embassy event, and the taxi driver asked me like, oh, like, you are going to embassy, are you a foreigner here? Like, and we are talking in Uzbek. And I say, yes, you know, I'm Egyptian, I'm here for a mission, I work in embassy. And I made it like 100 times, and every time, everyone believed any story I passed for the person. Once I told I'm Egyptian, another time I told I'm Moroccan or Lebanese. No doubts ever. Like, they believed every single story I told them. So, and I was also faking people put this kind of photos on Facebook back then. So, and then I moved to Poland and I became Weronika, which is another phonetic version of my name. And that time, what happened? On one hand, I was answering the question, where are you from? Why did you come to Poland? Why you really come to Poland? Like, why did you choose this country? I was answering this question like 100 times every day. And of course, it made me really angry because, of course, I could say I come from Uzbekistan. And then people start asking me, oh, but tell me about, like, I don't know, Muslim traditions, or typical Uzbek wedding, or like typical Persian New Year celebration. And I'm really good at answering that because I know the history of Uzbekistan and Muslim traditions very well. But the funny thing, what happened, I was telling, okay, the traditional wedding is like this, but my family is different. So usually people in Uzbekistan do this, this, and that, but my family doesn't do this. And people like, so how come you are telling and you are not doing this? Are you really from there or not? So again, the conflict popped up. So I always need to make an additional comment that I'm telling about the country where I'm from, but I'm not doing those traditions, and my traditions are different. And people were like, so what are your traditions? Where are you really from? Could you just tell us the short answer? On the other hand, while being in Poland, on my first years in Poland, I was attending a number of events for people with Polish roots. And there, no one asked me, like, who are you? People thought, you are Polish. You should be proud that you are Polish, which also annoyed me. Like, I was thinking, like, why have you decided for me? Like, maybe I am, but, like, maybe you could ask me first. And I will show you this photo. This is the book of Karolina Kaczorowska, which is the wife of a former president of Poland in exile. And on one of such events, she gave me this book with dedication. I will translate what's written from Polish. She wrote, you are Polish, you could be really proud of it, because Polish nation is a noble nation, which is worth to be respected. And when I read it now, I feel blessed that I have this book from this kind of person. And she wrote me this. She also wrote, like, this is for Veronica, I wish you good luck, and so on. But I remember my aggression 11 years ago when I got this gift, and I thought, like, really, why she decided for me that I'm Polish? She never asked me this question. And she wrote this. How dare she? Like, luckily, I didn't tell her that. This is only my internal dialogue with me. But still, you see, like, this is another example of people, like, telling who you are without asking who you are, like, taking into consideration only your appearance or your passport. So then I came across this book by Svetlana Alexievich. She is a Nobel Prize winner in literature from Belarus. And in her book, Second-Hand Time, which also had an English translation, she uses the term Homo Sovieticus, which I really loved back then, because I thought, so maybe I should really call myself Homo Sovieticus, and it will, like, solve all my problems. I would not have to explain that I'm from Uzbekistan, but not Uzbek, like I speak Russian, but not Russian. I would just say I'm Homo Sovieticus, and, like, whatever. And when I was reading this book, I came across this kind of sentence. She told, like, the Red Empire is gone, but Red Man, Homo Sovieticus, remains. Of course, I don't identify myself like 100% with this, but I thought, like, as I already mentioned today, like my grandmother and grandfather, they were denied to be who they are. So for sure they were Homo Sovieticus in that sense, and some part of me, maybe not the major part, is also this. So, but you can imagine if someone asks me, like, here in Poland, who are you? And say, I'm Homo Sovieticus. Like, oh, danger. So I will show you another one book. Unfortunately, it's only in Polish. And the author also elaborates a lot on who is Homo Sovieticus, and he uses the term Russian-speaking, not Russian, which I kind of liked back then, because I thought, like, maybe this is the best phrase that I can identify myself with. But also imagine a situation, especially now, like during the war, people asking, like, who are you? I'm Russian-speaking, not Russian. Hello. So kind of dangerous as well. So yeah, you can imagine, again, the reaction of people telling those answers. And then comes another chapter of me becoming Veronica, which is a Brazilian phonetic version of my name. I put those two photos intentionally, because when I was in Brazil in 2016, I was really trying hard to make my experience as less touristic as possible. For the first 2 weeks when I came there to work during Olympics, I was living in favela. So, and this was my window view from the place where I lived. And usually when people, I will show another fancy photo, yeah. Well, usually when people ask me, like, so what did you like about Brazil most? And I suppose they want to hear, I don't know, capoeira, samba, carnival and stuff. Usually I say the thing that I really liked the most was that no one ever asked me any question, nothing about my identity, why I speak this language, why I moved, why I didn't move. Never ever. Like Brazilians, they never care about it. I think due to the fact that every Brazilian has this kind of story that my grandmother is from there and grandfather is from a completely different place. So when they hear that you're speaking one language but live in another country, they don't care. And I remember when I was there for 2 months, I feel so calm, like no one ever asked me those questions about identity. I was really thinking maybe I should stay in this country just to feel calm and stop searching for those answers. But I was back to Poland, and as I told you in the beginning of this talk, I managed to find the answers, which I showed you at the beginning. And I would lie if I would say like I'm 100% sure in those answers, because I'm not, especially when I come across this kind of research. So have a second to read what this is about. To make a long story short, yeah, there is a fancy infographics showing how the brain of German native speakers differs from Arabic native speakers. So have a look. So I came across this kind of research quite recently, and I thought, so maybe I can call myself Polish today, but the fact that I was speaking Russian throughout my childhood maybe means that my brain is Russian. So like I'm not Russian, but my brain still is, and I cannot deny it. I'm really afraid of this thought. I was thinking, I really need to read this research carefully one more time. But what I want to tell, and like what my metaphor is about. I'm usually like now when I have the answer for who I am, I'm comparing my languages and my identities with winter coats. So let me put the first coat I have. Let it be this one. It's kind of heavy. So this fancy coat, I compare it with my native language. So see, it completely doesn't suit to the rest of the outfit. And I think this is what happens with our native language. Like we never, like I think none of us had the chance to choose our native language. It's our parents who made this choice. And sometimes the choice made by our parents doesn't suit us at all. But as a little kids, we don't have money, we cannot go shopping ourselves. We just wear what we got from our grannies or from our parents. And I think till at least school age, we are wearing the only one winter coat we have. And the same happens with languages. Like we have languages at home, we cannot say our parents, no, I would love English to be my native language, right? Like, it's impossible. So we speak the language of our parents, and we are obliged to do this, and there is no choice about it. So let me put another quote. Which would be completely not suitable as well, but on purpose. So this is Croatian quote I've got during Rio Olympics, so it doesn't suit as well. And the metaphor is, usually when we go to school, we usually hear people say, oh, you need to learn English, like, because English is prestigious, like, if you don't speak English, you will not have a good salary, a good job, blah, blah, blah. But maybe it can happen that a kid wants to learn, I don't know, Japanese or Bulgarian, because he or she listened to some song and wants to learn this language at this time. But as young kids in school, we are usually also denied of this choice. Like, it's usually parents or also maybe school teachers that make this choice for us, for pick this prestigious language or other language considered to be more noble. And this language can be like this quote, absolutely not suitable, absolutely not our conscious choice. And that, I would say, would be like English and French in my case, which I was obliged to learn, but it was never my choice. So let me put the next one. So this coat is really cheap one from H&M, made from really cheap fabrics. And I compare it to the time when you are a university student and you want to buy some really fancy, expensive coat, but your financial situation is that you can only buy this kind of Chinese copy. So that is metaphor, I think, what happened with Arabic language for me. I never really chosen it consciously. When I was finishing my school speaking English and French, I was thinking I should maybe try something else, and I was really into Turkish. I did like immersion for months. I was watching TV series, translating songs, and I applied for Turkish philology, but at the very last moment they told me, oh, this particular year we won't open the Turkish department in our university, and we only have Arabic, so you can pick Arabic or not. So I just grabbed what was there on the table. So it was not my choice, but like it was a choice I made due to the circumstances. So the language, the Arabic that I managed to learn, I'm actually super proud, but it was also never my choice that I made myself. So only the circumstances made me do this. And let me put the next one. This one is kind of heavy as well. So actually this one quote is, I can say, the first quote that I bought myself. Originally it was really expensive because it's made from really good fabrics and by let's say fancy Polish company, but I managed to buy it only due to the fact that it was on sale. So I was lucky to have it at the very last moment. And I usually compare this quote to Polish language that I'm speaking on a native-like level. I always knew that I had this great grandfamily from Poland, but I actually never considered myself immigrating and living here. And the fact that I came here, it happened really accidentally. By a chance, during my job in the embassy, I met the Polish ambassador, and accidentally during the coffee break, I told him, oh, you know, my great-grandfather was from Poland, just, you know, to throw some fancy information while drinking coffee. And to my surprise, his reaction was like, he was shocked, like, really? Come for us, like Wednesday evening, we have a scholarships, you should apply, we have this kind of program for you. And this was in the end of May 2012, and by the end of July, the same year, I was already in Poland, applying for the scholarship and learning Polish. So, see, it was complete random, same like buying a coat on sales, because on sales you never know what you will be finding there. You may be lucky to have the coat that you want to have on sales, but also it can happen that you go shopping and you have nothing. So, as for being in Poland and speaking Polish, I consider myself being lucky to have this opportunity, but I would say it was the first time when I'm wearing exactly the coat I want to wear. So, why am I using this metaphor? I also have another quote. I have a quote from Brazil, from Olympics, and I believe even if we have a coat like this one that I like, that I'm wearing like 90% of time, it doesn't mean I should stick to this one coat. I also can wear this kind of Brazilian coat. I also can wear this kind of sport coat, but also it doesn't mean that I should identify myself with being sport woman like 100% of my free time. So what I want to say by this metaphor, same like with coats, we are not obliged to wear this funny yellow coat my whole life, right? Maybe it's good, and I believe if my parents bought it, they did it with love and care, but it doesn't mean I should wear this only one my whole life. And the same goes with native language. Like, our parents made this choice for me, but it doesn't mean I should stick this only to this one language and to this one language identity my whole life. And I have all those codes, but I can decide to, let's say tomorrow, throw them away and buy 10 different codes. And that's what I believe I can do with languages and with the identity, the language identity. Maybe I can consider myself today as Polish and speaking Polish as a native language, but tomorrow I will change my mind and learn some other language and like it more and move to another country and name myself by some different ethnicity. So let me take off the coat because it's really hot. So the message I want to leave you with is that buying another coat is an option, and choosing your identity is an option as well. And my final question for you is, what's your favorite coat and how many coats do you have? If any of you will be eager to share it, feel free to do it now, or maybe if you want to talk about it, you can catch me during the gathering anytime, and we can talk about all our coats, possible coats that we can buy together. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share my story with you. Let me answer the question, is there one of your languages which is closest to your heart? So, as I told, now it's Polish. It's 100% Polish due to the fact that I speak it on a native language level, and also I'm Polish as a foreign language teacher. And this year I was attending the meditation, like guided meditation, and I remember my feeling when I was back home, and I told myself, I had this internal dialogue, like, Veronica, you attended the meditation in Polish with Polish people, and I didn't feel any difference between me and them. We were like absolutely the same. And also, like, I'm teaching Polish, and during my classes I'm sharing the the history, the traditions of Poland, and I'm doing it so naturally. And also when I came back home, I opened the Spotify and I was listening to Dawid Podsiadło's songs. I think Polish people know who is him, and I was thinking, what kind of other arguments are you waiting for to allow yourself tell myself that I'm Polish? Like, what else do I need? What other criteria I'm waiting for? So this happened this year, in the beginning of this year, and I thought, like, why shouldn't I name myself Polish then? So the answer to this question is Polish. Which sport do you do? I'm running half marathons, and this year I managed to run the fourth one. And I'm going to the gym as well. Okay. Yes, I had a lot of, I tried hard while living in Uzbekistan. I mentioned that this situation when people called me Ores or other not pleasant words. And I was trying to show people that, look, I'm Uzbek. And I was actually attending many courses where I was trying to have this like institutional instruction in Uzbek and learn the grammar, like, and the theory about it. So yeah, I was trying, while living in Uzbekistan, I was trying hard to prove everyone that I'm Uzbek, and learning this language was the part of this job. Why my parents? For sure, no, because the telenovela, I think it was in 1993 or 1994, and I was born in 1990, so for sure it's not the case. As I told, like, part of my family are of Ukrainian/Polish origin, so they just chosen this European name because I believe they liked it. Actually, I'm not coming back to Uzbekistan. The last time I was there was 10 years ago. There are a number of issues why I don't do this, including the documentation, visa, and the thing is that in Uzbekistan you cannot have double citizenship, so I should go there as a Polish citizen, and which means I should apply for visa here. So there is a lot of stuff to do, that's why I'm not coming back. But I believe if I go there, I will say I'm from Poland and let people think whatever they think about it. Dialect. I really don't know how to answer this question because I don't understand what you really mean here. Do you mean, like, I don't know, the situation when some Arabic native speaker speaks some dialect and identifies himself or herself more with the dialect? I don't know how to answer, but I believe the thing that we should not let other people do is to judge us. Whatever is this judgment about our native language or the dialect of our native language. I see a lot of judgment about it on social media, like people correcting every single mistake they find, even among other native speakers. So I think whatever dialect or native language, not native language you speak, one should, like, don't care what other people think about it. And as coming back to the coat metaphor, I believe buying a coat, choosing a coat, it's all about comfort. You buy a coat in which you feel yourself comfortable, and you choose a language which you feel comfortable talking it. So, and if this language is a dialect and not official language, why not? If you like it. I think I never suffered from exactly this one syndrome, but I can share that when this year I decided, okay, I will tell I'm Polish from Poland and let people think whatever, I came across different reactions for that. Sometimes when I say it, people say like, oh, but don't you notice you have a slight accent? And I say, so what? And then the other person doesn't know what to answer. Or I say, oh, you know, I live in Poland and my native language is Polish. And people say, but you were not born here. How dare are you telling this? Again, another example. Or people say like, oh, but are your parents living here with you? And I'm saying, no, but so what again? So I come across various reactions, but I think the most important thing that I understood in my life is that I should stop taking care of what other people think in terms of languages, in terms of nationality, identity, and so on. Oh, this is a very nice question. And in fact, I don't know the answer, unfortunately, because, let me say, I don't have that good kind of connection with my parents to discuss it with them. So I really don't know. Thank you so much.